My name's Peter Ward. I run Online Ceramics, and I've come here today to talk to Craig Underhill. And
I'm Craig Underhill, and I make the pots that Peter's been buying off from me and showing on his site for quite a few years.
yeah, when did we start? It was I started Online Ceramics in 2010, and I came in and visited you in your Stourbridge studio. I'm doing an exhibition at the Oldborough Gallery in June this year, June 2026, depending on when you see the video. And Craig is one of the two. I'm just featuring two potters. It's going to be Craig and Richard Fithian.
Yeah, Fethian. I call him Richard Fethian.
Richard, and it's warm. He's especially doing some wall-mounted work, and this is a quick sneak preview. Mm-hmm. And they'll be at the Oldborough Gallery, and they'll be online as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's have a think. Let's go back. Why did you go into ceramics? What?
Oh gosh, that's
No. Why?
That's a big question. Why did I go?
What was the first point when you thought, I want to do that?
I think it was when I went to art college when I left school, and at that point I wanted to do something in my life that was creative, and I'd heard of photographers and graphic designers, so I said that's what I want to be, a graphic designer or photographer. But when I did this course, then we did ceramics, and my opinion changed about what I wanted to do. So I did ceramics at college, and then went to university, and I felt going to university to do ceramics, I felt almost obliged to make a go of it, which took a few years, but yeah, now I've got to that point where that's how I make my living.
Yeah. But what made you go down? I mean, ceramics,
yes,
big.
Yeah.
And you've decided to go down this slab-built, rather than production throwing, whatever. You've decided to go to this to do focus on slab-built work. Why is that?
Well, a lot of people ask me, did you train as a ceramicist or potter or painter? And I've never trained as a painter, but I use it in a very painterly way, and that's what I like about it. I like the potential for mark making, and I feel it's better than paint because I'm making marks around 3D forms, not just on the surface, not just on a two-dimensional surface. I like the way that marks go around forms, and the combination of making forms and marks work together is what excites me about ceramics, and the endless possibilities for making textures and just experimenting with materials, which I think is a really important part of what I do, is that I don't just make my work, but I'll have times where I'm experimenting. So I do make a lot of pieces that don't work because they are sort of experiments that went wrong, and people rarely see that. They see the good work, but there's quite a lot of work that I make that doesn't necessarily make the grade.
And what do you do with those?
There's a little pile out.
Is there?
Yeah, and I have to be quite brutal about that. You know, they do. I only want my best work to go out. You know, the successful pieces, of course.
Yeah. And because it's interesting, lots of potters that decorate pots, they call them. They say the clay is their canvas, or they're painters that use pots. But you're not. You're saying more than that. You're saying you're going one step further.
I hate the word decorate.
Yeah.
I always try not to use that word when I'm talking about my work, because it sort of trivializes almost, I think, the mark making on the surface and the use of color. It's more like painting the surface, and it is more than decorating, because it's thinking about how the marks and the forms work together. It's how the surface and the form works together that's so important to me.
Yeah. All right. I quite like decorated, because I tell you why. Because I think people get, highfalutin. And decorated brings it back to earth. It's like it's all that thing about potter or ceramic artist.
As long as you don't say embellish.
Oh God! Well, the trouble is when you're adding on the hundreds of pots online, you have to
come up with different words.
No, actually, usually my tips is copy and paste from the last ones I put up.
Right.
So I keep it roughly the same and just change the title.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Craig tends to title his pieces. And that's really useful because sometimes I think, have I spelt this right? And then I Google it. They're usually places around Cornwall. Even when you're in the Midlands, all your work was about this area, which is Craig's based in the far end of the Cornish peninsula. So even when he was living in the Midlands, his work was about Cornwall, and then he eventually moved here about 5 years ago.
6 years.
6 years
now,
ago.
Yeah.
And so what made you, back then?
Yeah, well, I think because I met Emma, who was brought up in Cornwall.
Yeah.
It was her that introduced me to Cornwall, really.
Emma's Craig's partner, who's also a potter.
Yes.
And from this end of the world.
And her family was brought up in Cornwall, so we'd come down and visit, and that just opened my eyes to Cornwall, and it's the variety of different landscapes. It's the proximity of the land and the sea, and the variation as you go around the coast, how the landscape changes. But the other thing about it is you really feel the evidence of human history. I think in Cornwall, you sort of see it in the granite walls and the standing stones, and you feel like people have been here for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And I like that sort of sense of just that sort of seeing human history in the landscape over time. And I think those marks, like the field boundaries and the shape of the coast and harbour architecture, all of that feeds in to what I make. Well, I was going to show you for the film or not, but that was
nice. Yeah.
But that's quite.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about that.
This I've just picked up this pot, which has been not decorated. It's been
it's been glazed. It's been textured. It's been marked.
Right. This pot. So that's the inspiration for that texture.
Yes.
Is the inspiration for this pot.
Yeah, and that came from just going from a walk, going outside and looking, and then recording patterns, colours that I saw, and then coming back and making a group of work. So that was one piece that was made specifically with that rock pattern. So it was quite a new piece of work. It kind of stood out to you, I think, because it looked a bit different from what I'd made before. But yeah, I was pleased with it. So that's one that made it onto the finish shelf and not. It was an experiment that made it onto the finish shelf and not onto the death row.
Right, sure. We may have to have a little break because it's showers and it's very noisy. I saw the images that you've done of putting the pots into the sea.
Yeah.
What was that all about? Because I tell you what it made me think of. Yeah, I tell you what it made me think of. When I worked for John Pollock back in 1980, 81, he used to get Ceramic Review, which was in black and white in those days.
Right. Yeah.
But there was one project where somebody had put massive slabs of unfired clay in the sea.
Right.
And the process, it was like performance art, so it was wearing it out, and I really liked that, and that's what reminded me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good. Look at that texture. So these were float. What did you?
Well, they were immersed in the sea. They were put in the sea, and the sea washes them back and forward.
That's really heavy. It's solid.
It's almost solid. It's been hollowed out a little bit, but I wanted it to feel like a pebble.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to feel light. I wanted it to feel sort of like it had a bit of weight to it.
Where's the? Oh,
there's a tiny.
Oh, there.
Yeah. But just the process of them going in the sea means that things stick to them. So this little stone stuck to the surface of that one. But it is quite
It's a nice stone actually, and it survived the firing.
yeah, it did. Yeah.
Just.
Yeah. But yeah, if I have to explain why I do it, I don't know really. It is a bit of a departure, for sure.
Well, I've always.
But I'm very excited about and like you said, it's like a performance almost. It's the process of doing it.
Yeah.
That's so important, and it results in these physical objects. But it's actually the process of seeing them in the water and what's happening to them. And a lot of people almost don't believe it can be done.
Yeah. And did it affect the fire? Because I know it shouldn't affect it, but salt isn't going to affect.
I think there's
firing.
such a small amount of salt.
Yeah.
In seawater, so it doesn't affect it. Yeah.
That's why I was always interested in in demolition, in destruction. It's probably living in a city that was knocked down and built up after the war.
Yeah.
But so I've always liked the idea of temporary things. But the trouble with ceramics, the thing about ceramics, not the trouble. The thing with ceramics, it's forever, isn't it?
Yes.
You know,
it is, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, now on eBay, I see pots that I made 45 years ago appearing.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? Because you wonder how long they will last, way beyond your lifetime.
You can't tell.
In the same way that we look at pots now that were made 10,000 years ago.
Yeah. And these are earthenware as well, and they're the worst. You know, they wear easily. You know, but because these are stoneware, aren't they? These pots.
Well, they're made of stoneware clay, but they're 5 to 1140 degrees, so they're not quite stoneware. If they were fired another sort of 40 degrees, they probably would be, but they're not quite stoneware.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So I think in the description I always describe them as stoneware.
Well, it is a stoneware clay, though. Which is, I never know the answer to that. People say, "Are the earthenware or stoneware?" To me, it doesn't matter.
Like that.
It's the temperature that matters. Yeah, and that's a thing I find in the landscape as well. That's a stone that I find that I grind up, and so I quite like the idea that it's actually from the landscape, and it's in the. It's a stone. It looks a bit like this. It's this really. I don't know anything about geology, but it's like a sandstone. It's very soft, and you can easily grind it up in a mortar and pestle, and then I found I can use that.
It's just natural. It's not.
And it's really interesting because.